Welcome to your favorite channel, the place where untold stories meet raw emotions. Tonight we are diving into one of the most surprising and emotional stories connected to TLC's 90 Day Fiancé. This is not just gossip or simple drama. It is a story about two reality TV stars who decided to change their lives and write a new chapter together away from the cameras and away from constant public attention. For the past year, Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco were secretly involved in a romantic relationship. They kept their connection hidden from the media and from fans. During that time, they met quietly several times in private rooms at five-star hotels. According to secret sources, an even more shocking detail later emerged. Tiffany Franco is pregnant and expecting twins. For a long time, they tried to keep this information private, but the pressure kept growing. And eventually Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco decided to reveal their relationship to the public. As soon as the news about their relationship became known, another surprising story appeared. Tim Malcolm reportedly gifted Tiffany Franco a luxury car worth $700,000. This extravagant gift quickly created a huge reaction among fans. Then came the biggest announcement of all. The wedding date of Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco has officially been set. Their marriage is planned for February 10th, 2026. This is the untold story of Tim and Tiffany. It is a story filled with love, controversy, and the kind of drama that only stars from the 90 Day Fiancé world could create. Get ready, because what you are about to hear may completely change the way you see them. Every love story has a beginning, but not every beginning happens in front of the public. For Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco, their connection started quietly, far away from reality TV cameras. Both of them had already lived complicated lives in the 90 Day Fiancé world. They had experienced difficult relationships, emotional struggles, and constant criticism from fans who analyzed every detail of their personal lives. But somewhere during that chaotic journey, they found comfort in each other. Their connection began in a simple way. They started talking more often. Messages were exchanged late at night when everything around them was quiet. Conversations lasted for hours. Tim, known for his calm personality and sharp humor, began to see something special in Tiffany. He admired her strength and the way she managed the challenges of being both a mother and a reality TV personality. Tiffany, on the other hand, saw something unique in Tim as well. She had faced many hardships in her life, and she understood the pressure that comes with public attention. Tim seemed to understand that pressure too. He was someone who knew what it felt like to live under constant judgment. What started as a simple friendship slowly became something deeper. Over time, they realized their feelings were changing. Their connection was becoming stronger, and neither of them could ignore it. However, they both understood the risks of revealing their relationship too early. The 90 Day Fiancé community is known for intense speculation. Even a small hint of romance between two cast members can instantly turn into major headlines. Because of that, they chose to keep their relationship private. They decided not to share it publicly. No social media hints, no public outings, and no interviews revealing the truth. Behind closed doors, their relationship continued to grow. Tim admired Tiffany's ability to balance motherhood with the pressures of fame. Tiffany admired Tim's loyalty and his determination not to let television define his personal life. Their connection felt both fragile and strong at the same time. It was fragile because it had to stay hidden, but it was strong because their feelings were genuine. For months, they lived the secret reality. On the outside, the world believed they were simply two separate reality stars living their own lives. But in private, they were already building a new chapter together. The early days of their relationship were not glamorous. There were no red carpets, no paparazzi photos, and no public celebrations. Instead, their story was quiet and personal. And maybe that is exactly why it mattered so much to them. Before the drama, before the headlines, before the expensive gifts and wedding announcements, there were simply two people trying to believe in love again. As their relationship grew stronger, secrecy became an important part of their lives. For Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco, privacy meant meeting far away from public attention. While fans believed they were living separate lives, the truth was unfolding behind the closed doors of luxury hotels. Their meetings were not random. They were carefully planned moments designed to protect their relationship from the constant attention of fans and media. Tim was extremely careful about the details. He often made reservations using different names and booked private suites that offered beautiful views of the city. He wanted those moments to feel safe and comfortable for both of them. For Tiffany, those meetings became an escape from reality. During those private moments, she was not a television personality or a public figure. She was simply a woman spending time with someone she cared about. The atmosphere of those meetings was quiet and romantic. Room service dinners, long conversations, and laughter filled the space. Sometimes they stayed up late talking about their past experiences, their fears, and their hopes for the future. Every meeting became a special memory. Each moment felt more valuable because it had to remain hidden. But keeping such a secret also created pressure. Every time they entered a hotel, there was always the risk that someone might recognize them. One photo taken by the wrong person could expose everything. That fear actually made their bond stronger. They were not only sharing romantic moments, they were also protecting something important together. For Tim, these meetings were a way to show Tiffany how serious he was about their relationship. He wanted her to feel appreciated and safe. For Tiffany, it was a sign of trust. She believed that Tim truly cared about her and was willing to take risks in order to be with her. The luxury hotels became their private world. Every room they stayed in held a different memory. Every meeting became another step in building their relationship. While the public remained unaware, their connection continued to grow stronger. But every secret eventually reaches a moment when it can no longer stay hidden. For Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco, that moment arrived with life-changing news. Tiffany was pregnant, and not just with one baby. She was expecting twins. The discovery brought both happiness and fear. Tiffany had always spoken openly about her experiences as a mother, including the challenges she faced and the strength she developed along the way. But this situation was different. These children were more than just a new addition to her family. They were proof of a love story that the public still knew nothing about. For months, she kept the news private, sharing it only with Tim. Together, they tried to understand what the future would look like. There were moments of joy when they imagined holding their children for the first time. But there were also moments of anxiety because they knew the pregnancy would eventually reveal their secret relationship. Tim found himself facing a difficult decision. He knew that once the pregnancy became visible, the media would start asking questions. Despite that pressure, he chose to focus on supporting Tiffany. He attended doctor visits quietly and stayed by her side during emotional moments. He promised her that no matter what happened when the truth came out, he would not walk away. For Tiffany, the pregnancy brought a mix of excitement and worry. She imagined a future where two small lives would soon be part of their world, and she knew that their quiet secret would not stay hidden forever. Inside her, a family was growing in ways she had never planned. But now she could not imagine life without it. At the same time, fear stayed in her mind. Fans could be harsh, and the media often focused on scandals. She wondered how people would react when the truth finally came out. Would they see a love story, or would they see betrayal? As the months passed, the secret became heavier. Tiffany's body slowly began to change, and hiding the pregnancy became more difficult. She started wearing loose clothing. Photos on social media were taken from careful angles. She reduced her public appearances as much as possible. But in private, things were very different. Behind closed doors, she and Tim celebrated every important moment. They celebrated the first ultrasound. They listened to the sound of 2 small heartbeats. They heard the doctor confirm that the twins were healthy. During those quiet moments, their love grew stronger. The pregnancy was not just a secret anymore. It was a powerful bond between them. It connected them in ways neither of them had expected. They were no longer just 2 people in a hidden relationship. They were future parents. Responsibility and devotion now tied them together. One day, the news of Tiffany's pregnancy would shake the entire 90-Day Fiancé community. But before the headlines appeared, before the internet filled with opinions and speculation, there was a simple moment that meant everything to them. 2 people stood together in a quiet room, looking at an ultrasound screen. They listened to the rhythm of new life, and realized that their hidden love story could no longer stay hidden. Secrets can feel exciting at first, but they rarely last forever. For Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco, the privacy they had built around their relationship slowly started to break apart under the weight of reality. What had begun as a secret romance, growing quietly in luxury hotel rooms and private conversations, was now facing the truth. Tiffany's pregnancy and their deepening relationship could no longer remain invisible. Pressure started coming from many directions. Fans of 90 Day Fiancé are known for paying close attention to every detail. They analyze social media posts, public appearances, and even small changes in behavior. People began to notice things. Tiffany stopped appearing at certain events. Her clothing choices looked different. Tim suddenly became more private about his personal life. These small details started rumors. Whispers spread online. Suspicion grew stronger. Behind the scenes, the couple could feel the tension building. Tiffany knew that carrying twins meant the pregnancy would soon be impossible to hide. Every day brought visible changes. The thought of paparazzi capturing photos filled her with anxiety. Tim, who always tried to protect the people he cared about, began to understand that staying silent would only make things worse. The longer they waited, the bigger the shock would be when the truth finally came out. The questions were not only coming from fans. Friends, family members, and even television producers started asking what was happening. Why was Tiffany staying away from public events? Why had Tim suddenly become so private? The answers remained locked inside their hearts, but the outside world kept demanding them. Eventually, the pressure became too much. One day, Tiffany admitted to Tim that keeping everything secret was starting to feel overwhelming. What once felt exciting now felt like a heavy burden. She wanted to celebrate their love openly. She wanted to enjoy her pregnancy without constantly worrying about being discovered. Tim listened carefully. He understood her feelings. Even though he feared criticism and public backlash, he realized she was right. Their love deserved to exist in the open. Together they made a decision. They would reveal everything, not because they wanted fame or attention, but because they wanted freedom. They would share their relationship, the pregnancy, and the truth about their lives, no matter how people reacted. When the announcement finally came, the reaction across the 90 Day Fiancé fandom was explosive. Fans who had been guessing for months suddenly saw the truth confirmed. News spread quickly. Headlines appeared everywhere. Social media filled with reactions. The couple who had once lived quietly in the shadows was now standing in the brightest spotlight of their lives. The pressure that pushed them to go public had been intense, but in many ways it also felt freeing. They no longer had to hide. They no longer needed secret meetings or quiet whispers. Tim and Tiffany stood together openly, ready to face whatever reactions came next. Love stories sometimes reach their most powerful moment through a grand gesture. For Tim Malcolm, that moment arrived with the sound of a powerful engine and the shine of polished metal. While the public was still reacting to the news of his relationship with Tiffany, Tim made a bold move that shocked everyone. He gifted Tiffany a luxury car worth $700,000. The gift was not only about money, it carried a deeper meaning. Tim wanted Tiffany to feel appreciated, valued, and celebrated. After months of hiding their relationship, the car became a public declaration of his love. It was his way of saying that they were no longer hiding, and that he was proud of their relationship. The car quickly became part of their story. It was sleek, powerful, and incredibly luxurious. To many people, it represented wealth and extravagance. But to Tiffany, it meant something more personal. It showed her that Tim truly cared and wanted her to feel special. Fans reacted strongly to the news. Social media platforms filled with discussions. Some people praised Tim's generosity and called the gift an incredible romantic gesture. Others criticized the decision. They questioned whether such an expensive gift was necessary. Memes spread across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Fans debated whether the car represented genuine love or simply a way to attract attention. Opinions were divided, but one thing was certain. Everyone was talking about Tim and Tiffany. Away from the online arguments, Tiffany's reaction was deeply personal. She felt emotional, not because of the price of the car, but because of the thought behind it. Tim had chosen a vehicle that reflected her personality. It was elegant but bold, refined yet strong. For her, it showed that he understood who she was. For Tim, the gesture also allowed him to take control of the story surrounding them. He knew the media would create many different narratives about their relationship. But with this gift, he made a clear statement. He was not hiding anymore. He was not apologizing for his relationship. He was showing the world that his love for Tiffany was worth every risk, every headline, and every challenge. The $700,000 car soon became more than just a gift. It became a symbol of their transition from secrecy to public life. Their story had shifted from quiet meetings to worldwide attention. And while fans continued debating and speculating, Tim and Tiffany simply moved forward together, ready for whatever the future might bring. When Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco finally stepped fully into the spotlight, the world reacted loudly. The news of their relationship, Tiffany's pregnancy, and the expensive car gift created massive shock across the 90-Day Fiancé fan community. For years, people had speculated about their personal lives, but very few expected a story this dramatic and surprising. Reactions appeared instantly across social media. Twitter discussions analyzed every detail. Instagram pages reposted photos of the car. TikTok creators began making commentary videos about the situation. Some fans were happy for the couple. They believed the story showed strength, love, and a fresh start. One fan wrote that Tiffany finally deserved happiness. Another said Tim was proving himself to be sincere. But not everyone believed the story so easily. Some critics questioned the timing of the announcement. They suggested the story might have been shared to gain media attention. Others doubted the meaning behind the expensive gift. They argued that such a large display of wealth could be more about public image than genuine love. The criticism did not stop the momentum of their story. If anything, it only fueled the conversation further. Every post, every photo, every small interaction between Tim and Tiffany became material for endless discussion. Fans zoomed in on details, analyzing body language, expressions, and even the captions they wrote online. Some people believed the relationship was genuine and beautiful, while others insisted it was too dramatic to be real. For Tiffany, the sudden wave of attention felt overwhelming at times. Pregnancy itself was already an emotional journey, and carrying twins meant her body and mind were constantly adjusting to new challenges. The added pressure of public scrutiny made things even more complicated. There were days when she wanted to shut off her phone, step away from the noise, and simply focus on the life growing inside her. But there were also moments when the support from fans surprised her. Messages poured in from people who had followed her story for years. Some shared their own experiences of motherhood. Others encouraged her to ignore the negativity and focus on the happiness ahead. Those messages reminded her that behind the loud critics, there were also people genuinely rooting for her. Tim stood firmly by her side through all of it. The public had often misunderstood him in the past, painting him with labels that never truly captured who he was. Now he felt determined to show a different side of himself. He attended doctor's appointments, helped prepare the nursery, and made sure Tiffany felt supported every single day. The reality of becoming parents slowly began to shape their priorities. Late-night conversations were no longer just about their relationship or the drama surrounding them. They were about diapers, baby names, cribs, and the kind of future they wanted to build for their children. The world outside still buzzed with opinions, but inside their home the focus was much simpler. Two people preparing to welcome two new lives. As the pregnancy progressed, Tiffany's baby bump became impossible to hide. Photos taken by fans and paparazzi began circulating online, confirming what many had already suspected. The images spread quickly, and soon the speculation was replaced by certainty. Tiffany Franco was expecting twins, and Tim Malcolm was the father. At first, the renewed media attention brought another wave of chaos. Tabloids competed to publish the most dramatic headlines. Some stories exaggerated the situation, while others tried to dig into the couple's past relationships for more controversy. It felt as though every aspect of their lives had become public property overnight. Yet something unexpected also happened during that time. The more people saw Tim and Tiffany together, the more difficult it became to dismiss their connection as fake. Photos of them laughing during casual outings, holding hands during quiet walks, or simply sitting together at restaurants painted a different picture than the one critics had imagined. Their relationship looked natural. There was no performance in the way they looked at each other. No obvious attempt to create drama. Just two people navigating life together while the entire internet watched. Gradually, the conversation online began to shift. Some of the harshest critics softened their tone. Others admitted that perhaps they had judged the couple too quickly. Of course, not everyone changed their mind, but the narrative was no longer one-sided. For Tim, the most important moments were the quiet ones away from cameras. One evening, he sat beside Tiffany as they reviewed ultrasound photos spread across the table. The tiny shapes on the images represented two separate lives, two separate futures that would soon depend on them. He realized then that everything else, the headlines, the gossip,